So, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself and on behalf of the Russian government, I want to thank everybody in the room joining for this session. I can see that in Lappeenranta you take the hospitality very seriously because even the flowers are in the colors of the Russian Federation. I thank you for that. But more seriously, I will spend this coming 11.5 minutes by explaining two things. First, because of my job, I will explain what is Skolkovo, but then rest 8 minutes, what is important for regions like Northern Europe, Nordic countries, Baltics, Russia, what is important for our joint growth. Because what Kaspatin Harri was just telling us, yes, you have to love your work, you have to have an idea, you have to have a super team, but people around you, surroundings, should also support this kind of thinking. In Rovio case, well, perhaps they couldn't get the optimum support, but I'm sure that in this room there are guys and girls who definitely need some support to get it started faster. And that's why it's not only about the universities, it's not only about the governments, it's the whole entrepreneurship ecosystem what we are talking about. By the way, for all the Russians, yes, my email address in Russia is really bulldozer@sk.ru. There are a lot of people who think that how the hell it's possible based on the Russian government standard, but everything is possible in Russia. Skolkovo is, if you ask from any taxi driver in Moscow, what do you think about Skolkovo? They say that it must be somehow wrong because it's coming from the government. Because when things are coming from the central, people are thinking that there needs to be something wrong. The fact is that I have now spent 5 months, I have analyzed the whole Skolkovo from the very bottom to the very top, the law, legislation, and I'm extremely pleased what I have seen, honestly. And Skolkovo, if you read it from the London perspective, everybody thinks that Skolkovo is a technopark. It's something that you build houses and you build kind of a construction project because Russians love a lot of construction and big houses and so forth. Skolkovo is actually many things, and I took this slide just to explain it to you. Skolkovo Foundation is a foundation, non-profit organization, which is like in Finland we have Tekes. The next speaker will talk about Tekes. And the purpose of the Skolkovo Foundation is to support startup companies financially, support them in building their teams and so forth, how to get them international, how to commercialize their products. Skolkovo Business School is the first big building in that Skolkovo area, and that is full-hearted business school. Then there is a city development, which is a massive project, which has been a little bit slow. But now when President Putin invited all the world leaders for G8 summit for 2014, we have a lot to build there because everything must be ready in 2 years. So there is a lot of construction issues. And then on top of that, we have a research called Skolkovo Tech and Technical University, which is a natural party for universities like Lappeenranta University work with. So, ladies and gentlemen, my first thing is when you say word Skolkovo, it's a big thing. It's an umbrella, and you have to understand there are Finns and there are people from UK. There are even people from St. Petersburg who come to Moscow and they want to see Skolkovo without knowing what is the address. So you have to understand this is a really big program, and I honestly like about it. We will announce next week that we will have 500 first resident has been selected. And it is not that you see that, okay, Russia has 500 entrepreneurs. We have actually 7,000 companies in a pipeline, and out of which we have selected 500. So it tells you a little bit about the entrepreneurship society in Russia. It is growing, and I think it's getting bigger, and Skolkovo has a role in that. The reason why I was asked to come to Russia, it's a long story. Of course, I'm married with the Russian, like all the clever people does that way. But there is also other reason. I was writing a book about the leadership and about technology, how to lead technology companies, how to lead PlayStation generation. And we did it as a really international project, and now this whole story is in 135 countries, also in Russian, also in Chinese, and so forth. So I think this kind of impacted the dialogue what we had last year for me being there at Skolkovo. I have a debate with Nastya at home whether it's possible to make changes in Russia, and she believes that it is possible, but it is a long journey. We have a discussion whether it takes 3 years, 30 years, or 300 years. She is a pessimist, like most of the Russian ladies, and she thinks that to make a big change, it takes at least 300 years. I said that, well, I'm an optimist from Savo, and I say that you have to make a revolution in 3 years. But because we are family, we have had our development discussions, we have come to the conclusion that 30 is the right year when I'm really retiring 2042. So just to understand, Skolkovo is not one-time shot. It's not like that it's connected to one president or one prime minister or something like that. It is connected to the federal law of Russia, and it's a really long-term project. And whatever happens in the politics, I must say that I'm pretty sure that every single leader of Russia wants to develop new businesses and help technology companies to go there. So that's why this is really important. I want to also highlight the importance of Russia, not only in a way that European companies, Asian companies are investing to Russia, but I predict, and I might have some insider information here, that in coming 2 years, there will be big telecom company, big energy company, big retailer, where will be a big owner from Russia, will just purchase the shares from Finland, from Germany, from UK. So to understand how to lead companies together, it's not only how to do business in Russia, but how to handle things when Nokia has a big Russian owner and the chairman of the board only speaks Russian, as an example. How do you deal then? How do you deal the situation? And that's why to understand the business culture, understanding our ways of working, it's absolutely essential for every single person working in the business, either in Russia or in Finland. And I have made a priority list. Due to time limitation, we cannot go it through. But I only want to say that, first of all, the Russia is driven by the new generation, called PlayStation generation. In coming 5 years, most of the key positions in the big companies are driven by the people who are not anymore Soviet children, but who are born after that. They are really open-minded. They require from the leaders totally transparent and open dialogue, like here in Lappeenranta, like anywhere. So it is extremely important to understand that generation shift is not something happening in 2020, it's happening now. Just check the biggest chief executives in Russia and check their average age. It's 10 years less than in Finland, just that you understand it. Because we are in Lappeenranta and because we are in university, I want to encourage everybody in this room to think about how we can exchange students, how we can exchange companies, how we can exchange people over the borderlines, because the war, if you will, the trade war, whether Finland is successful or whether Russia is successful, is nothing to do about politics or missiles. This is about economy. And the economy is only driven, if we have more guys like Angry Birds, if we have Angry Birds in Russia, if we have such a companies here, and that will only happen if we work as a one team. My purpose in Moscow is to unite this relation in a very pragmatic money-making way. Thank you.